All right, everybody. Scott Golden here with Golden Opportunities Coaching, and we are going to discuss today the advantages of dating an introvert. Introverts are folks who are more reserved, and lots of people think that dating one can be challenging. Um, there was a time in my life that some people might have considered me one. I'm much more extroverted now. I was an introvert as a result of overcoming abuse, and once I overcame, my personality kind of did a 180 and some backflips along the way. But at a point, I would have been considered an introvert. For those that are new, we take emotional and psychological and life coaching topics. We break them down into simple language without all the jargon for your benefit. If there's a topic you'd like to see us cover, please comment below and we'll see what we can do about making that happen, usually within a couple of days. Also, I do run a business around coaching for people that are trying to deal with their challenges, and we'll give audio information at the end of this audio about how to get in contact if you're interested in that. So, what are the advantages of dealing with an introvert from a dating perspective? We're going to run through about 6 or 7 of those, and hopefully by the end you'll at least look at it differently. So, the first thing is introverts are very self aware. They do a lot of introspection because, well, A, they don't like crowds, which means they're by themselves more than the average person, which means they get a lot of time to think. And what is the most common thing that people think about? I think no matter who you are, you think about yourself and you think about how other people see you, and you think about how you see yourself, and you think about ways to improve your life, and you think about a lot of times, if you're very introverted, very deep core life questions like what's the meaning of all this, why does it matter, why does this matter, what can I do differently, and those type of questions. So a person who is introverted probably has done a lot more self-discovery about who they are, and when they're comfortable with you, they're probably better able to tell you who they are and where their boundaries are, and all sorts of really interesting things about how to be in relationship with them and what they like and what they don't like and all those things. So when an introvert begins to open up to you, it means you have kind of broken the fourth wall. It means that you have led to a situation where they feel confident in their ability to be accepted, at least partially by you. And usually there's layers to it. So they may reveal one thing to you one day, and then 5 days later they'll reveal 3 more things, and then a week later from that they'll reveal another piece of the puzzle. And that's what dating an introvert really is. It's kind of like putting together a Rubik's Cube. When you finally put together a Rubik's Cube, everything fits together. But in the beginning, you're like, hey, where do I even begin with this? So another advantage to dealing and dating an introvert is they're softer hearted, they're tender hearted. An introvert is more likely to feel emotions deeper. They're more likely to be highly sensitive people, more likely to be empathic, more likely to have deep emotional convictions, which they may not reveal about certain causes, social issues, and the like, which means they're going to be soft or kind about things that matter to you. If you punctuate things correctly, which is this is really important to me, and you give cues about the importance of a situation, um, an introvert's going to take mental note, and they're going to tie that issue or that social moray into how they see you, and thereby, bring it back up. So if you happen to mention that you're, I don't know, an animal rights activist, all of a sudden, and you're telling people this, it's like, hey, wait a second, um, hey, here we go. I saw this thing about pandas on the news, or I saw that the local no-kill shelter is having um, an adoption day this week. Maybe you should post about it on Facebook. In other words, they're going to go out of their way to link you with the causes that matter to you because they're soft and kind about that type of things. They're also open-hearted about new ideas, new concepts, and changing their viewpoint on things. What I mean by open-hearted is they listen, but they also listen to the needs of the person that's in front of them. They're more likely to be like, okay, I never considered this before, but A, B, C, D. I will consider this because you matter to me. So an introverted person is more likely to reflect on what you say. They may wait several hours or days or even weeks to give you an answer to a really difficult or emotionally probing question. But they take into account and affect everything that matters to the person they're involved with. And at the end of the day, the decision they make, you know they didn't make split second. You know they didn't make it irrationally or rashly. Instead, they've made it from a place of uh, true, honest reflection, and they're open to the growth that comes with making the decision. They are deep thinkers by nature. In other words, they are going to consider every angle before making a decision about any situation that's going to affect another person. They are going to factor in how another person may react, respond, or feel, and then they're going to make a decision that covers the needs as best as possible for everyone in a situation. They're better listeners than the average person. So, an introvert is a person who realizes the old adage of you're given two ears and one mouth for a reason, meaning you should listen twice as often as you speak. They are going to be listening not only for what you're saying, but the subcontext and the body language cues and the nonverbal cueing and the verbal cueing, such as tone, inflection, pacing, and all of these other things to everything you say. Matter of fact, there are those that believe a really deep seated philosophical introvert can almost be a mind reader because they may be able to, in some cases, especially if the relationship's gone on for several months, anticipate what you're thinking or feeling and put it into words where you can't. This is because they kind of have an internal computer about the things you've said, the things you've done, and they can take that, run it through a filter, and go, hey, this is the most likely way you're feeling, thinking, or about to act. And that can be really useful when building a relationship. So, another thing I love about introverts is an extrovert's going to show up just to be the center of attention. They're going to show up because they're invited and it might be fun. An introvert, if they're with you in your presence, whether it's by phone or by Skype call or in person, or they've gone to an event with you, they're there because they've made an active decision most of the time. They've made an active decision to be present in your life. They've made an active decision to show up because you're worth it. And so when an introvert makes a decision to spend time with you, they're there because they want to be, not because they feel obligated or they need to be. Now, obviously, there's an exception to that rule, but if you notice a consistent introvert, it's because you've made an impact upon them that is so profound that they want to continue to build the bond and focus on the building of that bond with you. The final thing is there's always mystery to an introvert. And I tell people this. Dealing with an introvert is about asking the right questions at the right time. It's not that introverts are disinterested, which an extrovert or an ambivert may feel that an introvert is disinterested. It's, I'm only going to tell you what you ask to know. I'm going to leave mystery for later because if you really wanted to know, you would ask, is kind of the mindset of an introverted person. Introverts are quite often an open book when prompted with the right questions or given the right parameters for a deeper discussion. They'll always talk to you, but most of the time with an introvert, you have to be the one to start the conversation or direct the conversation. This is because they figure one simple principle. If I've been properly available, they'll know they can talk to me about anything, so they should feel free to ask me any question they have, which means they are, in effect, able to have access to me. If they don't care enough to ask, then I'm not going to care enough to tell them, is a common mindset of an introvert. In any event, these are the advantages of dating an introvert. If you are getting back into the dating world, I do dating coaching, which, gosh, in 2020, I think is more needed than ever with the breakup rates and divorce rates in relationships. Having a dating coach can be really helpful so you know that you are at your best before going back into or being part of the dating world. If that's something you're interested in, please feel free to reach out. You can do that here on YouTube in the message box, or you can follow on Twitter and send a direct message to @PO Perception. That's P as in Paul, O as in Oreo Perception. and usually can get back to you within 24 to 48 hours there. In any event, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.